Happy Halloween, trick-or-treating people. Oh my goodness. It is so, so much fun to see how many people are showed up in their creativity. And then we have those who showed up in their regular human costumes to be our witnesses and our cheering section. And we just are so, so happy to have everybody with us this morning. I am Vicky Jeter, your practitioner spiritual director for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Teaching Chapter. And just riding the waves of everything, the ups and the downs. There is definitely some paradoxical energy going on, because I have to say that in addition to all of the fun and the celebration and the smiles and the laughter, my first dedication this morning is to acknowledge that not enough can possibly be said in words about the losses and the struggle for safety and peace that are happening and playing itself out in our nation today, as in Maine, and in the continuing war-torn areas of our world. So I say this because this entire service, the love, the laughter, and everything that unfolds from this time on is held in the most sacred space for those people who are reaching to be lifted up and have transformation in their experiences. And that's for everyone being affected. So our service and celebration wraps up the October theme of playing with paradox with a flair. Today, we are celebrating Halloween. And speaking of paradoxes, this holiday is doubtlessly among our most fun in Western culture. And in respect to Celtic origins, it is among the most meaningful and the most spiritual. For those of you who might not have ever had a chance to delve deeply into the origins of Halloween, believe it or not, in the 8th century, so that would be like in the 700s, from like the year 700 on, Pope Gregory III designated November the 1st as a time to honor all saints. Soon after that came what is now known as All Saints' Day. And that got incorporated into the Celtic traditions, which is actually called Samhain. And that is the Celtic New Year. And what is so exciting for me about that, we have a niece who some of you may recall when she did this. I talked about this a little bit. She went over to Ireland when she was in college to do like they do those cultural trade things in some college programs. She went over to Ireland, fell in love with a fabulous Irishman, and she now lives over there. So my brother just got home from Ireland from visiting his daughter, and I can assure you that Samhain is among Ireland's most sacred of holidays today. They said everybody in Ireland celebrates Samhain as originally the New Year. And so the way it goes is that the evening before All Saints' Day is Halloween Eve. And it's known as All Hallows Eve, which is actually a very holy name. It actually means holy evening. And that has morphed into our American culture into what we call today Halloween. Now, as to how all the ghosts and goblins got to be expressing as October the 31st, the honoring has to do with, like we do in the wintertime, it goes into deep winter and then rises up into All Saints' Day. And it's actually a 3-day celebration. So the first day is All Hallows Day, second day is All Saints' Day, and then the third day, November the 2nd, is All Souls' Day, when everyone who's departed before us is honored. So on this day, the Celts believe that the veil between the worlds is the thinnest, and we have the opportunity to actually reinvigorate and bring back our actual relationship to the people that are in other dimensions. Pardon me, which is just fabulous. I believe. And lastly, I just want to say that this is true not only in Celtic faith, but also this tradition is alive and well in the South America, in many of the countries in South America, and also in the East, in Hinduism and so forth. So with all of that in mind, let's take a moment to set our intention individually and together. Check in and see about your intention for being here today. And our shared intention for this service is to experience how having fun together is among the most sacred experiences of living, and to engage in many examples of how multiple perspectives, and thus multiple paradoxes, come together and work together to manifest potentials for unseen possibility in the mystery of trusting how things can emerge and bring us together and working together in ways that we could not possibly have seen without trusting the process. We'll wind up with one vision for how indeed this world can work for everyone and how that comes together potentially. So let us begin with our opening prayer in gratitude for all that is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all that we have here that is one place where the world works today with peace and harmony and sustaining and connection and love. From that place, I recognize the presence of spirit as all that is, and that we are one with it. And as we are one with it, so too is every being on this planet. The qualities of spirit are omnipresent everywhere at all times. And from this knowing, I realize that the intention of this service, the intention of every being here, is received by the law and acted upon for good and greater good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release it, I let it be, and so it is. Amen. All of that is to say, we welcome you to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Teaching Chapter, whether you're with us here this morning or watching us on Zoom. Happy Halloween. Thank you for being here. We welcome all expressions of spirit, no matter which kind of costume you come in. And with that, I want to take us right into our opening song, I Am the Place Where God Shows Up, with Eddie Watkins Jr.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road. Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You are the place.
moves and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You are the
moves and
place.
breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. Clap your hands and sing it with me. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins, Husk, can I have some more of that? Can we have some more of that? A little more? One more.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins! Good job, brother. Outstanding. Eddie Watkins Jr.
God bless Eddie Watkins. He came here one time and did a coffee house concert for us at Carolyn's house. He is the most precious, beautiful being. And so just allowing that to settle in, we move into our mission and vision. The mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science and mind and celebrating all paths to God, which takes us into our vision of a world that honors and respects all people. As ever, spiritual living is only as good as we can relate to it and apply it in our daily living. So each week we have an application of what we believe. And this is to be put into practice or brought into discussions in your week, and just make it more intimate and make it more personally yours. So this week, our application is practicing multiple perspectives is new territory, and I'm learning to live in it. I need to overcome thousands of years of programming that adversity is a constant requirement of existence. We need to savor our success, first for seconds at a time, then for minutes that grow into months. And that wisdom is imparted by Gay Hendricks, who is the author of a fabulous book called The Big Leap. And this brings us into sacred reading and meditation with our practitioner of the week, Miss Katrina Doro.
Good morning, cowboys, cowgirls, pumpkins, witches, and every divine expression of God that's with us today. Bones and aliens. I love all your costumes and festiveness this morning. Thank you. For me, Halloween is about horsing around. I am delighted to gallop into our time together this morning. As I'm dressed as my favorite animal with my two cowgirl sidekicks. I have a giddy up in my step as you join me this morning for our morning reading and meditation. So our reading today is provided by Home Office for the Centers for Spiritual Living, and it is, "We believe in one mind." Our statement of belief declares, we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impression of our thoughts and acts upon it. This means that all the paradoxes that we see in the world must be, in their totality, an aspect of the one. This also means that all of the problems, challenges, polarities, either or thinking, suffering, and ways that the world isn't working currently must also be aspects of the one mind. Realizing the truth is that there is no separation allows us to open our minds to a greater understanding of the world and embrace the genius and thinking. For our morning meditation, please close your eyes or lower your gaze. Allow your body to settle into a comfortable position. Allow all your thoughts to flow away as you bring your attention to your breathing, in and out. Mentally scan your body and notice if you are holding any tension in your muscles. If you are, gently let all that tension melt away with every exhalation breath. Bring your attention to your breathing in and out, in and out. Allow yourself to take several nice, long, deep breaths. Notice the cool air coming in, filling your lungs, and soothing, warm air going out of your body. Allow yourself to feel more and more comfortable, sitting and relaxing where you are. Observe the movements and sensations in your body with each inhalation and exhalation. Let your attention travel with the air passing through your nose and throat to your lungs, feeling the expansion in your chest and belly, breathing in and out. Now bring your attention to any sounds in your environment. Are you hearing air movement or noises outside, like the sliding of snow off of your roof? Listen to the sounds around you, including my voice. Imagine your spine connecting upward to as tall as possible, up through your head and out your crown chakra, expanding upward towards the clouds that may be releasing snowflakes in some parts of the world. Feel the comfort of this expansion in your physical body. Now imagine your spine connecting down through your tailbone, down towards the ground. Feel the expansion going into Mother Earth as you stretch into the core of the earth. Imagine Mother Earth loving you and embracing you with a wonderful, comforting hug. Take a nice deep breath as you receive the love and the heart of Mother Earth. With each deep breath, acknowledge how the feminine shows up for you. What aspects of the feminine do you notice? Ease, grace, flow. Allow all the nurturing of Mother Nature to ground you. Take a deep breath as you receive empowerment, strength, courage, and the divine masculine to fill your system. Breathing in this masculine energy, notice, what does it feel like? What aspects of the masculine are you experiencing? As you continue to breathe in God, breathe in the divine, and breathe in the sacred love. Notice, what is the ideal balance of the feminine and masculine for you in your body, in your mind, and in your life? Notice this balance without judgment. Notice with high noticing observation. Notice with acceptance and empowerment. Thank your higher self for giving you the opportunity to experience the balance of the feminine and masculine for you in your life. Inhale love and exhale peace. Relaxing and clearing your mind. Attune to the natural breathing and focus entirely on your breath again. Notice the abundance of the air circulating in and out of your body. Feel the infinite abundance of the oxygen that is available for you here and always. You are welcome to breathe in as much or as little oxygen that you desire. Acknowledging with gratitude the abundance of oxygen that is always available to support our bodies and our life. We get to choose to expand our oxygen intake in moments of stress, exercise, and consciousness. Imagine the last time you were out in nature. Imagine where you were. Were you by a lake, near a mountain, in the plains near horses, or walking through trees? Imagine what it was like for you to be in nature. While imagining this beautiful place in nature, notice your breathing. Imagine you are taking nice deep breaths and filling your lungs with the freshness of nature's air. What does nature's air smell like? What does nature's air feel like? What physical sensations does the air in nature bring to you? With each natural inhale and exhale, affirm with me. Breathe in love. Exhale peace. Breathe in love. Exhale peace. Take a nice deep breath and let go of anything that is keeping you from being your loving, whole, and present self. Breathe in love. Exhale peace. With gentle love and compassion for yourself, take another cleansing breath. Breathing in love. Exhaling peace. Feel this breath of love in your physical body. Feel this breath of love circulating in your toes, your legs, your gut, your torso, your arms, your hands, your neck, and your head. Breathing in this love and exhaling peace. Feel this breath of exhaling peace, allowing yourself to consciously release anything that is not serving you. As we close this meditation practice for today, I encourage you to remember the infinite abundance of oxygen that is always available for you. Please remember to breathe in love and exhale peace throughout your day. Gently bringing your attention back to the room by opening your eyes, breathing in love, exhaling peace. And so it is. Amen. Our special music today is Nemo featuring Daniel Namat, and the song is Grateful.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hand, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere and the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything
All
is
that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it all.
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far.
see, everything I hope, and everything I dream, everything I feel, and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am, and everything I see, everything I hope, and everything I dream, everything I feel, and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am, and everything I see, everything I hope, and everything I dream, everything I feel, and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
Na 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 na.
Wait, one more. This is for y'all.
All that I am.
All that I've been.
It's a blessing. It's so amazing.
I am grateful.
Such a demonstration of multiple perspectives. Our theme for the year, Living Out Loud, which I think everyone has been doing, both on the videos and here today. Our theme for October, Playing with Paradox, and today's topic is multiple perspectives in practice. We're going to work a little bit more off of the talk from last week from Reverend Tony. And so picking up from some of what we talked about engaging multiple perspectives last Sunday, I wanted to take a little extra time talking about this because it's the culmination of the importance of recognizing paradoxes and working with polar opposites. And just as a reminder of some of those polar opposites are up and down, right and wrong, good and bad. And as Miss Katrina's meditation so beautifully put together, the masculine and the feminine. And that is not only just in gender, but masculine and feminine runs through everything about the creative process. Anything that comes into creation has masculine and feminine aspects that come together. And so we want to learn about how they can be of benefit rather than this experience we sometimes have of disagreement and strife. And this is true especially in our relationships. The poet and sage Rumi gave this example. In order to understand the dance, one must be still. And in order to truly understand stillness, one must dance. The importance, hold on. Let me gear down a little bit. The importance of it in relationships is that taking an approach honoring multiple perspectives can make the difference between whether a family or a group of any size or culture falls apart over polarized views or grows stronger and comes together and gets even better and bigger through the experience. So Dr. Tony introduced what she called an integral approach. She said, one of the premises of striving for integration is that as we grow and develop, we learn to take more and more perspectives on things. And an integral approach requires the careful consideration of multiple perspectives or points of view in conjunction with each other. And in order to go beyond either or thinking or both and, which we had talked about over the last several weeks, we need to take what she calls an evolutionary perspective and engage something known as emergence. And we're going to talk about that a little today as well. To begin making the most sense of all of these suggestions and what they have to offer us in actually benefiting our lives, we need to start with a few basic definitions. So, what is integral and what is emergence? Integral and integrity come from the same root word, which is integer. Integral speaks to structural integrity or the integrity of function of something if it's not something that's in form. You may recall from school years that integers are part of mathematics, which is part of the law of creation. When something is integrally sound, it has everything essential to be considered whole and complete. That's the actual definition. Now, just stopping here for a moment to notice the power of words, notice too that anything essentially having everything necessary to be whole and complete speaks to the spiritual truth as well. It could have been taken right out of Ernest Holmes, but it's in the dictionary under integral. So, another related common term significant to this discussion is disintegration. Disintegration is when something intended to be integrated and work together falls apart. So, let's look at some common examples to make this easy to see. The human body demonstrates integral functioning marvelously. So as I'm talking about this, I invite you all to look at your hand or look on the screen at each other a little more closely and think about some of this. Every single part of the human body is distinct and designed for a specific function. If you hold your hand up in front of you, every single phalange, every single little digit of your hand, your fingers, they each have a separate function. Your index finger can't do what your thumb does, and your thumb can't do what your pinky does. And even just of themselves, they're fantastic. They're phenomenal, just one single finger. But can a finger do what a finger is intended to do without the hand, without the base of the hand? And can the base of the hand do anything that, makes us the top of the evolutionary chain if we don't have the arm that comes with the hand? And so all of it progresses together. And this is equally true, of course, of our internal organs, our kidneys and our lungs and our heart. All of those things, they have all the intelligence within them they need to do their thing. But how long are they going to continue to function without the rest of the system? And so all the parts must be integrated in very precise ways in order to function as they're intended. None of the parts will function or continue to even exist over a short time without the other parts integrated. So bringing in spiritual principle here, Thomas Troward taught that the universe thrives on increasing levels of order in consciousness and in form. And some of you may recall, if you were here when Tony spoke or if you listened to the recording, she talked about spiral dynamics being related to this whole process of integration. And this is what Thomas Troward was talking about. The universe thrives on that increasing level of order. And so all of the intelligence of the universe is in a single cell, but then that single cell becomes a hub for other cells to come around it, and the next level of form develops. And then the more complex the form is, the more it can do, etc., etc. and it's an ongoing thing. And this is true of us today. Even though we are a whole body and a unified consciousness within ourselves, as we know, when we come together and we learn from each other and we grow and expand, more and more things become possible for us to do. And so each part of a unit can do a little more and a little more, working with the law of spirit as intended through it. And they're in increasing forms. You know, the use of the law expands as we expand. As our consciousness embraces more of what's possible, those possibilities ignite the patterns that are within spirit that are possible. And everything evolves that way. That's just one example. So the individual parts of something that are intended or need to come together in an integrated way have to figure out that they need each other. Human beings are being called by spirit in a huge way to figure out that each of the various cultures and identities make up the whole. We have to figure out how to come together in an integrated way. Each individual's task, and that's us, each individual is tasked to realize that we are all part of this whole. And we've talked about this before, but we're really coming down into how do we actually do it? What's it going to take for us to have that experience of being integrated together with people that we don't so much understand? It's like bringing it down from our head into our heart, and then how do we actually, you know, put the fourth tire on the pavement? So put up the slide for me, Vernon. The first one. And so here we have vinegar and oil. And when Katrina and I were planning for this talk, we did a little brainstorming, and we had quite a bit of fun with this, because the thing about this, what it demonstrates is that this is like two separate opinions, right? And two separate substances that have a different law of nature. Oil is very different from vinegar. And yet we know that when they come together just the right way, it goes excellent with sourdough bread or on salad, right? So when they come together, it becomes something totally different than what it is when it's not together. Now, this is an interesting thing, because a couple of weeks ago, Scott Marcus talked to us about shaking up our worldview. And so sometimes what it takes to get things to work together is for things to be shaken up. So if you shake up the oil and vinegar and get it on your salad real quick, then it works together. And what this reminded me of, particularly from what Scott said about having been through an earthquake, is it's so interesting how something really shaking up our worldview will cause people to come together. You know, when there's a devastating earthquake, oh my goodness, then all of a sudden we have a common goal of challenge, and that commonality, everybody rushes to help. And for a while, different languages, different cultures, different ways of approaching health or medical, all that stuff comes together, and we're working together. And then what happens when the crisis calms down? What happens in almost every natural disaster? We hear about it for a while, people come for a while and work together, and then everything calms down and everybody goes right back to the way they were, just like that vinegar and oil. Okay, so this is one example of like active integral. We can come together. Another way to think of integral is, you know, when you think of an orchestra, all the different pieces of the orchestra, they come together and they find their harmony and they each do their part, and it creates something larger. We talked about that before. And then, so while they're playing, they're a unit and they create something that no one of them could possibly create on their own. And then what's important about that is that something integrated can disintegrate. So an orchestra comes together to do their thing, and they intentionally disintegrate. They then pull apart, and then they're back to doing their individual thing. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to talk about is the definition of emergence, because this gets really kind of important in looking at the depth of how some of this works. the root of the word emergence, and where I'm coming from on this is Reverend Tony said in her talk that what we're really looking for to take this idea of moving from either or, all this separation, into both and, looking at everything and bringing it together, that ultimately we need to come to the place where we're ready to do a new emergence and emerge as something completely different here on this earth than we've known what is before. And that's where emergence gets to be important. So emergence, the root word is to merge. And so the act of merging or sinking into something else with a consequent loss of the original identity or form is the state of being merged. So the definition of emergence is the process of coming into being or coming out of being what was into becoming something more or more prominent. And so you might notice when you hear or say that word and realize what you're really saying, because it has a whole lot to do, like lots of demonstrations that we have in prayer are an emergence in form of what we did not see before. So when we bring together integral and emergence into what is called integral emergence, is a term that you might hear used to describe how multiple aspects of reality arise simultaneously and function together. So in the forming of a new life, the sperm and the egg are completely merged and they come together to form a whole new being. If you think about it, that merge, once that kind of a merge happened, you're not going to be able to separate those back out. They're gone. Those original forms are transformed, they're gone, and they become something completely different. So in the forming of this whole new development that we're looking for, this is exactly the kind of process that is needed to happen at some levels in the world in order for us to come to a place where it actually does all work together and we're able to live together peacefully long term. Next slide, please, Vernon. Now, this here is just a whole lot of fun. I just made this batch of brownies like yesterday. And what I want to take a look at really quick here is this formation demonstrates both integration and emergence, because if you think about when you make something like a chocolate cake, okay, you pull together all these different ingredients, and for the analogy, all those different ingredients are like different perspectives, different cultures, different laws of nature, okay? And when they know how to come together, or when a director knows how to bring them together, then when you whip up all those ingredients into that cake batter, can you go in and pull out the salt or the sugar? Now it's interesting because someone with honed taste can actually taste what's in there. I'm sure some of you probably do this, and or know people who do it, where they can taste something and they can say, oh, I know what it took to do this. I know what it took to bring this together. But you can't go in and pull out that oregano anymore, or that thyme, or whatever it is that you're tasting. And that is an example of transformative emergence, when it comes together as this whole new thing. You put it in the oven like you release, we talked about in treatment. When you release it, you release it to the law, and the law works on it, and a whole different form comes out. Okay, so that's emergence. Now what's true is the cake is an example of merged emergence, because you can't pull out the individual characteristics of it anymore. And so as the icing, as I was doing the icing, I was noticing, you know, there's whipping cream in there, and there's powdered sugar, and there's cocoa and vanilla and different things that go into the icing. And once I put that sucker in the blender, you're not going to be able to tell or pull out the different ingredients anymore. Okay, and it comes out as frosting. You put the frosting on the cake. Now the thing is that the cake and the frosting are not merged. You can pull that frosting off of there. So the cake and the frosting are integrated. They're not merged. okay? Because you can still pull out the unit that is the frosting, and it's separate from the cake. And the same is true of the candy corns. Together, the candy corns are a fabulous part of the total unit of the cake that you see before you, but the candy corns can be individually taken off if you don't happen to like them. And so that's integrated and not merged. And so the thing is that these states are happening in creation around us all the time. And so it wouldn't be surprising to me if almost all of you are asking right now, what does it matter to understand it? And the reason why we want to understand it is because as conscious co-creators with spirit, the more we are relying on our conscious choice, the less we're relying on natural law that's just going to carry us through things without having to think about it. Now, that's going to continue. But as we're reaching for this idea that we want to have conscious choice, we want to have that kind of volition, we have to understand the laws we're working with. Because if we don't, that's like somebody saying that they want to know how to operate a unicycle without learning how to ride a bike first. And so when we think about we want to manifest this world that works for everyone, we need to learn about what it's going to take spiritually to feel safe enough and secure enough in God, because that's another thing Reverend Tony said last week. She said we need to release the idea that our idea has to be the right one, and we have to release the idea that we have control of what the outcome is going to look like. And in order to have that kind of confidence, we really need to work individually on knowing that we are one with our source and we're safe and secure, no matter what the dynamics of moving through the whipping up of all the ingredients is going to look like. And so all of that being said, so let's just take a breath, because I know that was a lot. But I'm so, so happy to have been able to say it. And I think I'll just say this last piece here one more time. As each of us develops the spiritual security to trust the process, becoming less threatened by others and the multiple perspectives around us, not needing our personal view to be the right one, and loosening up the need to feel like we're in control, we become one place where the transformation and the striving for a world that works as a unit is possible. We will begin to see that path unfolding before us as we get there. So this week, please continue to practice recognizing polar opposites. See where the different things are working together. Notice, kind of maybe practice to say, is this integrated? Could I pull out the different pieces? Or is it merged? Can I not tell the difference between one aspect and another? And as you practice with that, ask yourself, where am I in that? What is my part? And what do I have to learn in the spiritual classroom? And with that in mind, closing treatment. Taking that pausing breath and consciously shifting from where we have been to where we are now, which is in the opportunity to speak the word in affirmative prayer. I recognize the one that is eternal and everlasting love and law that meets us where we show up. And so I say for myself and on behalf of everyone within the sound of my voice, here I am at the point of zero separation from source. That the source is all that is right here, right now, present, and that being true in mind, heart, and soul, I realize in my experience that all good, according to each individual part and pieces, each individual person's place, is in alignment with the greater and higher good, and that we are available to learning about how to work integrally, and we're open to trusting and understanding where there is emergence, or I should say emergence, called for in order to emerge in an actual world that functions as working for all of life on this planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
Good morning. Our prosperity affirmation after this wonderful treatment and time together is I activate within me the consciousness of love, compassion, and generosity. I am a beneficial presence in the world. So let's say it together once again. I activate within me the consciousness of love, compassion, and generosity. I am a beneficial presence in the world. Thank you for being here today and sharing your time, talents, and treasures. Ways that you can contribute are in the chat. And as I pass my gratitude for this center, for the time that we spend together, for this service, for this day, I pass this to Vicky for the offering.
And I just take up this offering basket. I have to say, though, I think we can all feel it has already totally been blessed in triplicate. That hearing that affirmation and harmony just so went to my heart. And so, girls, Alexa and Michaela, you don't know how you just stood in service for the first time. Maybe, I don't know if you've ever stood on platform before, but I don't think anything more needs to be said. Thank you, God, for the blessings and for the prosperity that just continues to multiply in our experience to be shared with the world.
For announcements today, the board meeting will be held Monday, October 30th at 5 p.m. on this Zoom link, and that is tomorrow. So definitely join us for our board meeting. Our first Wednesday spiritual connection is this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will share inspiring stories of gratitude, and Vicky will lead us through a wonderful introduction to the 4 pivots of reimagining justice and reimagining ourselves. Please join us here. The men's group will meet via this Zoom link on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look forward to seeing all you men here. For First Saturday Visioning, which is one of my favorite things that the center offers, it's hosted via Telebridge. So what you do is you dial in the telephone number on the screen and you access this code, and you get to join us for a visioning session. And Vicky facilitates the most incredible, transformative 45 minutes of your life to come into conscious awareness of what you want to create in your future. And this is really important, is next Sunday when we join, it is fall back time. So we need to remember to drop our clocks back an hour so you don't miss the live service. Of course, we'll be recording it on YouTube, but we want you to be present with us here in church. So remember to drop your clocks back. And we have a very special speaker next week, which is our very own practitioner, Tammy, and she will be discussing the power of listening generously. So join us next week. Our great visitor that we have had in the past is Raymond Anderson, and he will be joining us to do a special service on November 12th, followed by a workshop at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, where he will be going over American Sign Language in the workshop. So please join us and Raymond Anderson for this wonderful time together. And I'd like to go ahead and acknowledge that our very own beloved Pat will be retiring, and Vicky is going to speak right now more about our sweet Pat that we love, appreciate, and are so absolutely grateful for all the time, talents, and treasures that she has shared with us over the last few years. She is absolutely magnificent. And Vicky, please share more.
So that's a hard act to follow. Actually, Katrina just about covered the whole initial opening of that. We're certainly going to let Pat speak for herself. I'll just say very quickly, I could not have been more affirmed in spirit that we had been using this lovely little dog for the slides and talking about living like someone left the gate open, because the spirit was literally opening the gate for Pat. And I don't know, Pat, do you have Butters with you right now?
I do, but he's asleep, and
Didn't want to
maybe
wake.
during sharing I'll wake him up.
Okay, because honest to God, you guys, that dog manifested in her life. And so with that, I'll just turn this over to you, Pat, so you can give people a little bit more of the logistics of the transformation that is taking place.
Okay. Yes, that is a picture from a vision board I did 15, 20 years ago, and forgot I put that dog on there. And through a strange set of circumstances, I ended up with a puppy just exactly like that. Um, I started working with LCSL when I was 56 years old. And I am 73 as of last month. So it's time. All these books you see behind me and dozens and hundreds more in the garage boxed up. It's time to read them. I just would like not to have anything structured to do. And so my releasing, working the constant contact every week and helping our bookkeeper now that we have a professional one for the last 2 years, I'd like to turn over someone else. The bookkeeper has agreed to pick up the detail duties that I do on this end. So all we would like to see from someone come forward is another set of eyes to review the bank statement. And if you can balance your own bank statement, you don't really have to balance ours. Just keep an eye on it and help us with a few other things. That would be great, because it's not a good practice to leave it to just one person. And right now we have myself and Vicky. So we need that third person, even though the bookkeeper's going to do more. It's not hard stuff if you've done your personal accounting. So think about that. The constant contact is a little more in detail, but most of you, if you've worked with PowerPoint or other things, could help Vicky with that. We've tried to simplify it over the last several months so that there's not a great deal of time involved in adding announcements and pictures. It's been a great learning experience to have grown with this church the way it has. I can't imagine. I remember that I was late the first time Vicky had a meeting, and I was determined to get there because my soul had been longing for a place like this in Louisville. And I was going to come in, even if I was an hour late, I was getting there. And I've been here ever since. And it's a good place to grow and learn. And it's just going to get better and better and better. So anything you could do to help out with the administrative part of it would be greatly appreciated. And I will try to enjoy every day that I'm retired, fully retired. So thank you for the sweet comments as well.
Thank you, Pat. And so we will be following up with gradually the different kinds of things that we need to do. We're going to be also in talking about the board some moving forward, because in addition to those things that Pat mentioned, she is also, of course, a practitioner, which I believe she's probably going to sabbatical from for a while as well. And she's been a board member. So All of these things, as you hear us continuing to talk about it, is just because there are many pieces, and we're going to bring those pieces and find out how they integrate. And so now we're ready to move on. Thank you so much, Pat. There just can't be enough thank yous for everything that's going on through you at the moment. The next slide.
And as we always say at the end of our service, to acknowledge the greatness and the wonder that's in each one of us, let's say together, you are magnificent.
Very quickly, before we move into benediction, I would like to acknowledge that we do have a person here for the first time that just dropped in, very near and dear to my heart. And I just want to say, we didn't have the slide that says stay for sharing time because there wasn't a new person in the room. And so I just want to say to my wonderful, wonderful brother who's here for the first time, hang out. We're going to have sharing time in just a few minutes, Lauren. And so also a little bit special today, you might notice that the benediction is quite different than it has been this month. And that is because we are going to bring our unexpected income initiative to a little bit of a pause. And the end of the month here is a good time to do it. But in doing so, it would be really good for us to share together the treatment that everyone has been doing for unexpected income, because the pause that we're taking with the program, like on Sundays, etc., is not meant to suggest that there's any need to stop the flow of it in your life. And so I do invite everyone who is willing and available to actually say this to yourselves and read it with me. The purpose of this treatment is to realize that as part of the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living community, I am prospering so that receiving unexpected income occurs regularly with joy. We all have good to share and to spare in every area of life. Beginning at the beginning, I stop and breathe. I call to mind a moment or event of greatest good in my life. In the reflection of that moment, I am filled with gratitude. Feeling grateful, I recognize there is only one love, one law, one limitless source of all creation that I call Divine Spirit. Recognizing this one as all, I am one, unified with Divine Source in every aspect of my life and every aspect of my being. And I am a vessel of the divine mind, heart, and soul.